Christopher Rabb from everybody else. What are you bringing, or what have people asked you for, or have they?
Yeah, particularly young people, more than ever. They're coming out like, where are you on Palestine? Where are you on ICE? Do you take corporate PAC money? And
Mm.
they're shocked when I say, I had never taken corporate PAC money. I'm all about a free Palestine, and that ain't nothing new. And abolish ICE as a beginning. That's not the end. That's the beginning. We have to dismantle these immigrant concentration camps because that's what they are. And they didn't exist but for 25 years. And Democrats were complicit in the creation of that system
Ooh.
under Bill Clinton. So, a lot of people want to glorify these former, Democratic presidents and such, but there's a corporate duopoly that exists that benefits their benefactors. And we have, particularly Black folk, we got to hold them to account.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
I would love to talk to everybody that wants your vote. And some people say yes. And a lot of people are like, I'll wait until after the primaries. I don't want to risk it. No, you got to come in and talk to the people. So I'm really happy that this gentleman is with us today. He is running for the 3rd Congressional District seat in Pennsylvania. It is the first time it has been open in 35 years. So this is really important. This is the nation's bluest congressional district, and primary day is May 19th. So y'all have some time. So let me welcome to the show congressional candidate for Pennsylvania's 3rd District, Mr. Christopher Rabb. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you. We're chatting a little bit off mic. I said, are your people from Virginia? Because you look like one of the Virginia people.
I know.
I can't help myself. And you're like, yeah, we're from all over. By way of Chicago. So from Chicago to Pennsylvania, what was that? Why was that journey?
A woman.
Oh, okay. All right. Say less. Say less. Speaking of women, you were also telling me a little bit about your mom, tell the people about your mom.
So my mom is aggressively badass, objectively, and she's 81, and she is in this short film called Teen Dream, and the executive producer is none other than Queen Latifah, who I know you know, and it's a film about 2 Black women who late in life, in their 70s, start competitive swimming, and the story of their friendship and their competition in a field that, Black folk aren't supposed to be swimmers, right? And all the tropes and narratives and stereotypes. And it's 17 minutes, but I cry every time I see it. I've seen it in theaters. I've seen it all over. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. I was going to say every Black person should see it, but everybody should see it.
Yeah.
Particularly seniors, people who think I'm too old for this. I can't do that. Folks with disabilities, to see it and be inspired.
Yeah, I love. I was every conference that I have, I try to have like a swimming component because so many of us black people in particular drown disproportionately, yes. And it's a lot of reasons why we're not in that water. I know water epigenetically might have something to do with it. Our journey over the water to get here might have something to do with it. But it's interesting. So was your mom very persistent that you know how to swim, you and your siblings?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And all the grandbabies. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. She made sure of it. Yeah.
All right. So why do you want to be in Congress? What walk us through the thought.
I like how you said that, because a lot of people, particularly folks who know me, like, why are you trying to do that? Like now? Like, are you crazy? Do you not like yourself? Do you not like joy? Like, why would you do that? And it's a fair question, but I think, I told you, before we got on that I'm a genealogist and family historian. And so I've inherited this extraordinary legacy of freedom fighters, civil rights activists, abolitionists who made this nation better than it was before they showed up, not just for themselves and their families, but for whole communities. And each successive generation has benefited from that courage and that vision and that resilience. And that's inspired me to do something that, ain't going to be fun, but it's important. Like, some people got to run towards the fire.
Yeah.
Right. I don't, it's how I've been raised and what I've been doing for 10 years in the state legislature.
Walk people through that civically, because I think we've had a bad relationship with politicians and vice versa, meaning that I think a lot of times we vote and we feel like, okay, we did our civic duty, and then we just expect things to get done. So we've, and sometimes we don't, research the people before we may go and vote down a line, or we like that name. That last name is Jackson, Jones, Williams, Johnson. Okay, I'm gonna vote for that person. Oh, I like that picture. I've seen that, that billboard up somewhere. I'm voting for that person. But it's an exchange of power and resources, right? Rights and resources. So you need to vote for people who are going to get those things done. But first you need to know what needs to get done. So I've been challenging this audience to walk their neighborhood, to spend some time with their neighbors, to ask themselves what is needed here. And when you elect somebody, you're not electing your favorite person, you're electing somebody that can get some ish done. So what brought you into politics?
Yeah, I started, when I adopted Philadelphia as my home 24 years ago, and I was a new father, a new homeowner, new city and such. And I wanted to be invested, because I was here for the long haul, right? This is where I'm raising my babies. And so I wanted to invest. And I knew, because my grandmother, my mom's mom, was a community organizer in Baltimore, you have to really understand how the levers of power, who's doing what, and so forth. And so I volunteered as in a political ward in my neighborhood that was very civically engaged, racially mixed, et cetera. And I got to learn how the city functioned on a political level while getting to learn to know my neighbors. And I kept doing that for years and years and years. I was teaching at Temple University in the Fox School of Business, teaching social entrepreneurship, doing other things. And I had no interest in higher office, because I worked on Capitol Hill when Newt Gingrich took over. And I'm like, no, enough of this. I'm out. I worked for Senator Carol Mosley Braun as a young legislative staffer, and she was a great boss. But I'm like, this is for the birds. Why would you want to represent a state where the majority of people hate you because you're a Black person or because you're a woman? Like, why you want to serve people who want awful things for you? Right. And so I just didn't understand it. But much later in life, I realized that service is its own reward. And there's certain people who should be in elective office because they understand that it is a beast that needs to be slayed, and you have to be in the belly of that beast without being consumed by it. And I think a lot of people go in the belly of the beast and they become part of that beast. I've seen that myself over and over again. And others are actually getting it from within and helping people from without at the same time, an inside outside game. And that's very important. So it's about service. And the last thing I want to say on this is, there's two kinds of elected officials, and people get it mixed up. And this is part of civic literacy, which is what you're talking about, which is there's a distinction between politicians and public servants. Politicians help themselves and the moneyed interests who help keep them in power to do their bidding, and public servants do the work of the people for the greater good. And they're both elected, but they're very different people.
So what's going to be different? The person that sat in that seat previously was Dwight Evans. He basically ran unopposed. It was like definitely, won 99.2% of the vote last time he ran.
Yep.
He will not be in the race. So it's wide open. There are a bunch of other candidates.
Yep.
What distinguishes you, Christopher Rabb, from everybody else? What are you bringing, or what have people asked you for, or have they?
Yeah, particularly young people, more than ever. They're coming out like, where are you on Palestine? Where are you on ICE? do you take corporate PAC money? And they're shocked when I say, I had never taken corporate PAC money. I'm all about a free Palestine, and that ain't nothing new. And abolish ICE as a beginning. That's not the end. That's the beginning. We have to dismantle these immigrant concentration camps because that's what they are. And they didn't exist but for 25 years. And Democrats were complicit in the creation of that system under Bill Clinton. So, a lot of people want to glorify these former, Democratic presidents and such, but there's a corporate duopoly that exists that benefits their benefactors. And we have, particularly Black folk, we got to hold them to account because, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
That's right.
And so we don't know that.
How are you able to avoid taking money from the corporate? Like every time I hear, because, I sign up, I'm a registered Republican, so I get alerts on the Democrats are about to pass a bill. We have to stop them, and I'm like, I've infiltrated, but I also know that there's a lot of money to these blasts that you get. And so I recognize that that's where money goes. But I also know that if you reach people, then that's what you need, So I think about New York. Not that Mamdani didn't have money, but he was outspent exponentially by Cuomo and those folk. And he was able to reach people by being in them streets and talking to people. And people vote, not the money. The money doesn't vote. The people vote. Now, the money can suppress the vote. Right. But is that why you were able to not have to take corporate money? Or
no, because the two things that benefited Zoran, despite him being an excellent candidate, were public financed, elections, which was amazing, right? Because you got all this matching funds from the people and not from the wealthiest people, in society, which is great. And two, ranked choice voting, which is a bill that I've introduced many times in the Pennsylvania legislature. We have neither of those things in Pennsylvania. So, but also he did raise a lot of money. He may not have outraised Cuomo, but he raised enough money to do all the amazing things he did as a candidate during his campaign. And I'm doing that on a smaller level, right? I'm not running in my district represents 760,000 souls. It's not 8 million New Yorkers. So it's not quite the same, but it is a challenge to not take corporate PAC money. But the reality is, even if I did want to take it, they're not giving it to me because of my politics, right? I don't bend the knee to corporations that prey on my people. Like I represent communities of struggle. In those communities of struggle, their labor is exploited by a lot of these corporations who are using us just for, profit maximization. And I understand that's the business model, but we don't have to accept it. When Black people showed up and said, we're done with Target. Target paid a price, right? Listen. And we use our collective resources and wisdom. We get ish done. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always been.
So how did it get up? Walk with me for a second. Christopher Rabb is here. He is running for the 3rd Congressional District in Pennsylvania. It is an open seat. He's not taking corporate PAC money. He's for a free Palestine. He's for, ICE not just being abolished, for getting rid of these concentration camps that have been cropping up. I think Pennsylvania has one in your backyard as well, right outside of Philly. How do we get here? And it seems as if a couple of people were selected to to keep us from paying attention to what was going on. I'm not going to name names, but I feel like that has been the case. And we just trusted that these people had our best interests at heart because they speak a lot of Black stuff. But the results over the decades have not borne fruit. And you know a tree by the fruit that it bears. And at some point, we got to know that the tree is barren. And it's time to plant new seeds. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. Let's do this. So for you, I'm excited. I'm just meeting you today, but I'm excited by the possibilities. What do you need?
I need people to know that there are candidates like me who give a damn, who are authentic, who lead with integrity, who didn't want to be president when they're in 3rd grade, because I don't roll with those folk. I never trusted those kids. I want to be president. Like, come on, man. Like, I want to make a difference. I want to serve. I want to serve. It's what I've been doing for 10 years. But the people who we send to Congress now, they got to be for real. They got to do it to it, as my grandfather would say, right? They can't mess around. They have to be bold, because this is a time that requires boldness, integrity, care, compassion, substance, creativity, resilience, and a love of Black people. Because so much of what's happening is aggressively anti-Black. It may not be explicitly so, but it is obvious to Black folk. It is obvious. All these things are, listen, Donald Trump hates Black people so much that he was going to sacrifice millions of white people on SNAP, because the majority of people who get SNAP are white folk.
Correct.
You know this, I know this, right? He was like, I'm prepared to punish all of these poor white people because I hate Black people that much. That's deep. And if that doesn't tell you that whiteness will not save you in 2026, I don't know what else will. Because whiteness is no longer a protective garb that it once might have been. It is something, but he is prepared to sacrifice the daughters and sons of rural conservative Republicans and send them to Iran.
Yes.
For an unwinnable war.
I would challenge that Donald Trump does not have the emotional capacity to hate. I think he is too obtuse to even understand the emotion, because hate is a lot. It requires some understanding, something. It requires something, and I don't think he has the requirements. But what I do think that his racism is a useful tool, and so people are using racism as a wedge item to create the kind of division that you need to get people to not vote. To get people to stay home or to get people to vote against their interests. You need to have these distractions. So, good on the folk that have created this, but it's time for us to say no. Chris Rabb, CHRISRABB, like yes. Rabble rouser, you said.
That's
like
right.
Rabb. You can go to chrisrabb.com. You can follow him on Instagram at Chris Rabb. You can follow him on Facebook at Chris Rabb CD03. I don't know what the CD, what's the CD? For the district. Congressional District 03. Okay, yeah. There we go. I was like, you giving out CDs? Okay, I'm here for it. For you, this race is what? When did you decide to throw your hat in, first of all?
Well, I heard that Congressman Evans was going to retire in 2023 and not run in 2024. So I had to set up an exploratory committee. And then he's like, no, I'm still running. And then he won unopposed, whatever. And then he announced this past summer that he was retiring. So everybody was jumping in. And I had to make a decision very quickly if I was going to do this, because my life was going to change overnight. And because of this environment of political violence, my youngest son asked me not to run. He was afraid. He's like, Dad, Black folk with our politics don't last too long. Mm-hmm. And I want to keep you around. Please don't run. Mm-hmm. And that was a tough conversation to have with your child, right? Because he's in college, so he's not a kid. I have two mendrin. They're neither children nor men. They're college age. And I talked to him, and he's like, I'm worried about the political violence. I'm worried Black folk who have our sensibilities are targets. And this was before Charlie Kirk got clipped, right? And then he was the first person to text me when that happened. He's like, I want you around. And I was like, son, I want to stay around too. I want to see you, live a long, healthy life and all those beautiful things. I said, but we're fighters. This is our tradition. We don't run. We don't run from bullies. This is our nation. This is our fingerprints are all over the beauty amidst the ugliness of this country. And I'm gonna uphold the tradition of our family because we have such an amazing inheritance. And I don't mean financially. I don't descend from people who are necessarily well known or rich, but who are just badasses, who are doing things, creating a way when there was no way. And I want to live up to that, because it's not out of ambition, it's out of duty.
Yes.
And I want to make my sons proud, and I want to play my part. And this is the part I'm playing right now.
Okay. All right, Chris Rabb. All right, Gino versus Pat. This is a trick question.
I don't mess around. That is a false equivalency. right? That's like,
That's a trick. I said it was a trick question.
yeah, well, I'm not falling for that for the okie
Okay.
doke. Listen, there's a brother named Chef Kurt who has this fusion of Chinese and soul food, and he has the best cheesesteak egg rolls you could ever imagine.
There you go. That's the correct answer.
That's
right. You got my vote. I don't live in Philly though, so I'm not in your district.
You might move when you taste these jokers.
I'm not moving to Philly. I love Jersey too much. But yes, no, this is much success to you. I want you to come back. I want you to promise to come back. I'm planning to be out in the streets, so I may tap you to come in. We're doing
and I'm coming to New York.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go. Nice to meet you, Chris Rabb. Nice to meet you.
Real pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend.